World of Light, to me, feels like a very underdeveloped, pretty rushed story mode for Smash Ultimate. But it also feels like a super ambitious story that, fittingly, has many sparks of something greater. In some ways, I feel the Smash DLC trailers make more of this concept, specifically with Hero and Sephiroth's trailers. And haha, this video totally didn't start life as a small part of a Sephiroth trailer discussion in a trailer ranking video that I realized I had way too much thoughts about. Anyway, like I said, World of Light has a ton of potential, and I more so wanted to go over the positives I have with this mode, since people online seem to be very negative about it. But I'll also throw in a few complaints because, well, whining is my favorite hobby. The Subspace Emissary is the story mode in the game Super Smash Bros. Brawl, and is one of the most beloved story modes to ever grace a fighting game. Every time you'd hear people talk about story modes for Smash Ultimate before the game came out, they'd either call it Subspace 2 or say, I want Smash Ultimate to have something like Subspace. And well, I don't fully disagree. I, for one, don't fully agree with the amount of praise the Emissary has gotten. Yes, the cutscenes are incredibly charming and easily the best part of the mode. The bosses are also super fun, but has anyone actually played the levels? All of the levels are generic forests, tech facilities, and mines, and I would have just liked to see them expand on the stages in Melee's adventure mode. They kinda do that with the Halberd, but it's not enough for me. I have many other problems with Subspace, like the Great Maze for instance, but this video isn't about that, so let's move on. My point was that Subspace was going to perplex every single expectation people had for Ultimate Story Mode, and if it wasn't like Subspace, people were going to be disappointed. That's why I think they made the CGI cutscenes in the first place in Ultimate, so they'd have something that at least resembled Subspace in the trailers and directs. Now, this isn't to say I'm against having cutscenes like in the Emissary. I just think Sakurai and the team really didn't want to do that here. Sakurai has said multiple times that he doesn't feel like creating cutscenes if the players can just look them up on YouTube. And honestly, that's fine. A Smash story can be so much, and this half measure with these small cutscenes just feels wrong. They don't feel in place, and if they created these cutscenes, I'd have to ask, why not create a bit more? Well, because they didn't want to in the first place. At least, I think so. Of course, I can't confirm anything. I could 100% be incorrect here. The one cutscene with actual character could have been just because of time restraints, or that's just the way they wanted to start off the mode before delving into the more original cast, but let's speak on the actual mode. I do think World of Light has a lot of problems. Of course, the main thing people jump to is the lack of an interesting story, but I'm gonna go against that for a second. I absolutely love the general concept. These omnipotent beings fighting against the entirety of the Smash cast, and then cloning their bodies to create an army? Brilliant. And I really like a lot of the locations you explore here, like those points on the map where you explore a typical Donkey Kong Country map, or explore the globe like in Street Fighter 2. The Triforce part in the Dark World is really cool, traversing 3 different points of a map until you realize it's a Triforce. This map has a ton of potential, but it does fall into a few of the traps Subspace did with its general theming. Yeah, those places are really cool. There's even little mini games like the Gourmet Race, but there's too many locations that don't have any or very loose references. The castle where you fight Giga Bowser is just a generic lava castle. Why not theme this around a Mario 3 castle, or a castle like in Mario Kart 8? It's true a lot of Bowser's castles are fairly generic, but they always have their own flavor at the very least, with Bowser statues and stuff. And if you couldn't find a way to make it interesting, just make it a taken over Peach's castle like in New Super Mario Bros. U. Make references that actually fit the locations. Gallium is just an irregular factory. Many corners of the world are just basic ice world, mushrooms, basic island, cliffside. I like the city that references different Nintendo consoles and logos. The Castlevania map is really neat, but they don't go all the way in my opinion. I think exploring a typical Wily Castle, Luigi's Mansion, have more mini games like the Gourmet Race where you're shooting up enemies in a way that references Melee's credits minigame, but in a typical Star Fox map, or create something similar to Melee's Harry's escape sequence but make it an entire location. There's so much you can do with these franchises and characters, but they kinda blew it in many ways. Oh yeah, that stupid Master Hand minigame, where you play as Master Hand and eliminate a horde of enemies. It's really cool, but why isn't this its own mode alongside Horde Smash? You created a playable Master Hand and did basically nothing with it. It's cool here, but it shouldn't be locked behind multiple hours of a story mode. Oh yeah, you can't do again after you beat it. And the bosses we do have are very cool, but I honestly would have liked a few more. I think an Eggman fight and a Death Egg robot would make a lot of sense, a Hades fight based on Kid Icarus Uprising, a Kraid fight was something that seems super obvious to me, but again, the ones we do have are nice, but I would have liked a little bit more. I honestly would have liked if they condensed World of Light's map a bit, because the way it feels right now is super bloated, and it would have made so that they could have focused more on fewer locations and made all the references they want with those instead of filling out the map with super generic locations. And there's no fast travel, so a smaller map would have made the thing easier to traverse, or they could have, you know, added fast travel, but whatever. The worst part is, I like this concept. I like this concept a lot. I love the general idea of spirits. I don't like how they replace trophies, but they're a fine substitute. My problem with them, that makes them an substitute, is the lack of fun descriptions to read through, which doesn't make any sense because you're literally fighting a battle that's supposed to reference that character. But if you don't know that character, how will you get the reference? So you should have done with description so we know what character that is. Like the Ventus spirit fight. It's a battle on Gerudo Valley that has Dark Samus spawn as an ally with a killing edge. I know that this Dark Samus is supposed to reference Vanitas, and the killing edge is supposed to reference his Keyblade, as a Kingdom Hearts fan. And that Gerudo Valley references the Keyblade Graveyard. It is a bit weird that Vanitas is Roxas' ally because they are enemies, but it could have been referencing how Vanitas enters Ventus' heart at the end of Birth by Sleep in the Ventus Vanitas fight. But if you're not a Kingdom Hearts fan, how the hell would you know that? Sorry, tangent. This video is about World of Light. Tell you what, if this video gets 20 likes, I'll make a full video going over my problems with spirits and ways to fix them. And while you're down there, you might as well subscribe. I mean, it gives you literally nothing, but it gives me a small release of dopamine as I see that number go up. Anyway, World of Light. I love the idea of spirits, and the canon explanation of cloning characters and filling them with other characters' spirits is fun. It's neat, and I like Gleam and Darkum. Their designs are really cool. These biblically accurate angels that hate each other but both have the same goal? Amazing. I love the final battle, how Darkum and Gleam fight each other as well as you. It's really creative, and it's not like World of Light had a lack of care put into it. In fact, I think it had quite a bit of it. The Kirby spirits are not fought until near the end of the mode, which makes sense because Kirby wasn't captured, and he couldn't create clones of them, therefore he couldn't make spirit battles with Kirby. And Sakurai actually says this in an interview, but Gleam was able to study Kirby and make clones of him that way, which means there are more Kirby spirits at the end of the mode. That's really neat. Characters like Palutena and Bayonetta don't appear until the final battle, where you can rescue them then. And that's because they're some of the most canonically powerful characters in the Smash roster. And Gleam probably didn't want you to save them really early, and then they could fight back against them. That's really, really charming. And like I said, some of the locations are interesting, and I really like the idea of multiple endings. It's really cool. I think World of Light has a ton of potential, but they didn't take full advantage of it. Maybe that's because the roster is so big, or time restraints, or really any reason. It's disappointing though. It's not worthless, but it's not worthless. World of Light is not worthless. I think all three of Smash's story modes have their strengths and weaknesses, and World of Light is no different. I think the story is much easier to follow than Subspace, the map is a fun idea, and it's undoubtedly ambitious. I hope if they make another Smash game and that one has a story mode of its own, they combine the levels of adventure mode, the charm of Subspace, and the ambition of World of Light. Also, the Marks fight is really, really cool. Like, it's such a fun boss fight.